everybody, to the 10 in 10 podcast today. We have Jason Wojtyna. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
Woohoo! I have it literally like Wojtyna in front of me, which is very helpful.
Yep.
But thank you so much for being here today.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to learn more about kind of mortgages and home ownership, renting, buying, all of that kind of stuff. I own my house, but I was a very good renter for a very long period of time. And I think a lot of people just don't know the ins and outs of mortgage versus realtors versus financing versus interest rate and taxes. We were just talking about that. So you're here today to kind of help us through a little bit of this, or as a resource for people down the road to ask questions of.
Clear some stuff up. Absolutely.
Definitely. And so you've been in this 20 years, specifically here in Arizona the whole time?
In Arizona, 20 years. Yep.
Okay. How has it changed in the 20 years?
Without
getting into too many details.
Well, drastically. I mean, obviously, you know, the cost of ownership's gone up. You know, so that first time home buyer from 10, 12 years ago, it's a lot different. Wages haven't gone up with the house increase. That's probably the biggest challenge we have right now in this industry. Is, you know, first time home buyers trying to get into a home and being able to budget it. So that's the challenge.
Okay. Well, and we have, you know, these people coming out of college, or in the sense trade schools, or out of high school. You know, at what age is like the ideal time to kind of buy a house, and what do you have to have prepped in order to buy a house versus rent a house? Right.
I mean, right now when you come out of school, a lot of people think they have to wait. You really don't. If you come out of school, especially trade school, or even with your bachelor's degree, once you start your job and you're in your job, say 3 months, you can now purchase, because your job and your schooling are all one for us.
Interesting.
So if you went to school for 3 years to be a nurse, you started a nursing program, you're there 3 months, we look at that, all your school history, as job history.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of things we'll run into, a lot of times right now we'll run into parents co-signing. Because, you know, they may not have the down payment, they may not have the income with that job, but with the parents co-signing, the sooner the better. As far as you mentioned age, you know, you really can't time the market. It's just time in the market is what a lot of times we talk about, because the sooner you buy, the better. The longer you own that house, the better. The equity goes up. I mean, like you said, you were renting. You were a great renter for a long time. That person paying that mortgage loved you. Because you were paying their
time.
mortgage. For years.
They were making money.
I mean, and that's why some people will buy a home. Like one of my son went to U of A. He can buy. We thought about buying a home down there rather than
all the college kids.
We didn't, but it's gotten so expensive near U of A. It didn't make sense. So there's an example of buy a house, have them pay the rent to them, get some roommates, and you know, have a win-win at the end.
Totally. So. No, that makes sense. Well, and it used to be like you have to have an amazing credit score, and you have to have, you know, this, and this. Is that still the case?
The credit score is still important when it comes to interest rate. More for a conventional loan rather than FHA. FHA is a government program. It's 3.5% down. They're much more lenient with the credit score and your debt to income ratio. You can buy a little bit more, and they're just lenient. You don't have to have that perfect credit score, and it doesn't affect your interest rate as much. So it's a huge piece for the first-time homebuyer to get in, and co-signing with parents, it just makes it much easier and more, you know, able to do it. So.
Well, and it kind of sets them up as like a kind of side source to be successful. If they ended up getting married and buying something with a partner, like they could have that source of income kind of just be side income, which I think a lot of people are doing. And it doesn't have to be the Airbnbs and the whole, you know, rental world, but just having a side property that you get to be the handyman and the electrician and all that kind of stuff. But having that kind of side income, because everybody has multiple sources of income these days.
And you can buy multifamily. You could buy a duplex, do your 3.5% down. You move into it, have a friend or a roommate, or just go rent it out on the market, and now you have someone helping pay your mortgage. And the sooner you do that, the better. The problem in the market right now is multifamily homes are so expensive. You can't find them reasonable. But that, you know, that is a great option too. If you can get the down payment, that's where the parents come in, help out. You can do that and actually have some cash flow and not be, you know, buried by your mortgage payment. So what is the number one loan program that investors are taking advantage of right now? No, the investor program is the DSCR. It's a debt service coverage ratio loan. When I say that, it's nothing to do with your income. You just have a credit score and put money down on the property. We're covering that mortgage. Say you buy a property, the mortgage payment's going to be $2,700 a month. As long as the rent in that area is $2,700 a month, that covers it. So we don't care about your income, nothing. All we care about is good credit score. That income from that property covers it. So self-employed people that just like are wanting to get into the real estate world of investing. A lot of people are sitting on a ton of equity right now. You can take that equity out, go put 25% down on a home and not have to worry about qualifying for it.
Okay.
Because that rent is covering the mortgage. It's completely paid by that.
It's a wash, basically.
It's a wash. So you don't have to worry about it.
So why would somebody want to do that when they're really not making money from it? And you said obviously prices go up and down, but it could just be something good to start with and then maybe one day?
Yeah, long term.
Okay.
Long term, building your real estate portfolio.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it is.
Okay.
And you can get in the real estate investment game without having to qualify for it. A lot of people don't qualify with their income right now for 2 and 3 mortgages. This way you're getting into it without qualifying for it. The rent is covered and you're good.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of them are renting for more than that, but you cover it with the 1%, with the $2,700 to cover $2,700 at about a $450,000 purchase. That just makes it easy to get in and not have to qualify with your, with your income right now. With 3 mortgage payments, it can kick you out of the qualification really quick, where the DSCR eliminates all that.
Okay.
So.
Makes sense. So what are some things that you hoped or wish more people would know about, the home ownership, how to buy, loans, all of that? Because most people look at this stuff and they're like, this is a whole bunch of numbers on stuff I don't know. I don't have time to learn it. And they go to experts. But what do you hope like an everyday person can kind of learn a base knowledge on? Basically,
just get started.
Okay.
Have someone reach out to myself or a mortgage advisor and just call them and say, I want to look at buying. What does it look like? Now, they do a soft credit pull. They look at your debt to income. They look at all your debts you have and say, hey, based on right now, your picture right now, you could buy $200,000 house if you had $8,000 down or whatever those numbers are. Now, that's the place to start, because a lot of people, they're afraid of getting their credit pulled. They're embarrassed. It's your complete financial picture. It's very personal to people.
Yeah.
So to do the soft credit pull, look at it and sit down with an advisor to say, okay, here's what you can buy. Now, the flip side of that is with first-time home buyers, I like them to just go home, print out their last 3 bank statements, look at where your money's going. I'm going to tell you as a mortgage person what you can qualify for. I'm not looking at Netflix and Starbucks and all the stuff you're spending your money on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so, I'm looking at car payments. I'm looking at, your credit cards and that kind of thing. I'm not looking at what you spend your money and your life on.
Yeah.
So before you buy a house, look at your bank statements for you.
Okay.
I can tell you what you qualify for, but you may look at that payment and be like, there is no way we can pay $2,400 a month.
Yeah.
But if they go home and look at it, take a highlighter, sit down across the table from each other for your partner and just say, here's where we're at. So that's what I wish people would do more of, because when they get to the closing table, they are way more comfortable.
Okay.
The fear is gone. They already know what the payment's going to be.
Yeah.
And they trusted us to help them figure that out, which is awesome, which is the best part of this.
Yeah. Well, and so many people get into renting, which isn't a bad thing, especially now.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, like you said, can't afford it, especially if you want certain parts of town.
Yep.
But you go into it saying, oh my God, this is so scary. I'm never going to own a place. It's like never owning a car, and because it's all your responsibility.
Yes. Yep.
But there are other people to help you along the way, not only to purchase, but even down the road for doing a new, I'm going to say this wrong, but like refinance your house and doing all that, to hopefully get interest down or stuff along those lines. So.
Because right now we are in an inflated rate environment. It is what it is. But right now in this market, when sellers are making or buyers are making offers, sellers are giving closing costs right now, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. You can buy your interest rate down and or cover your closing costs. Once these rates drop, let's just say they drop 1% in the next 6 months, sellers aren't giving closing costs anymore because they don't have to.
Okay.
Everyone's going to be back in the market to buy.
Yeah.
So the window, I feel right now, is a solid window because they're going to give you that money. Let's just say you wait 6 months to buy. The rates have gone down. You're like, awesome, my payment's $100 less. Okay, you got to come up with $30,000.
Yeah.
No one's covering your closing costs, and they're not buying your rate down. So you can get in now, get some closing costs to cover payment or down payment, and or buy the rate down. Only thing that's going to happen is your payment's going to go down. Okay. It's not going to go up.
Right.
So it's one of those things where the sooner you get in, the better.
Okay.
And you start building the equity. But it's the fear. People are afraid.
It is. Well, and then so when you're looking at it, people are like, oh, there's so much available on the market. Is that the time to buy? Or is it when there's nothing much on the market? And then also to contradict that, should you buy the home that's like the tear down home that you grow into, or should you buy the ideal perfect house?
Yeah.
And that's probably different per person?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Perfect time to buy is when you can afford it and when you're comfortable with it. Some are like, you need to buy now, you need to buy now. No, if I look at your finances and it's not time, it's not time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great time to buy. But if you're not there, you're new and earlier in your career, you haven't saved a down payment, there's a lot of things that just the timing's bad. You're getting married. There's a lot of things that can affect your life, but people are still getting married. Relationships are still changing. You're still moving jobs. So people are still buying no matter what. But it's time to buy when you're comfortable with it. So sit down, What are you paying for rent? Is that $2,500 a rent you're paying now? Is that a comfortable number? Oh, cool. Let's sit down. Let's back into that.
Yeah.
At $2,500, you guys are great. You can go to $3,000. Let's see what that looks like. So for me, that's why I like to start the process.
Don't go and look for homes and then find somebody and say, okay, this is the home I want to buy. It's like sit down first, figure out where you can go, and then from that point, spend some time to look for, and it might not be right now.
It may not be right now.
It might be 6 months. It might be a year, but at least you kind of know.
And that's the fun part of this is the education piece, right? I love sitting with first-time home buyers and saying, hey.
It's different every time.
Yeah, here's your options. And may not be now.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, and they still don't want to do it.
Okay.
You know, we want to do X, Y, and Z before we do that. I just try to advise, be careful with your other debt. I pulled a credit the other day, $1,374 a month car payment on a guy. It's, but car, they don't look at anything when you're purchasing a car. They look at, can you afford it? Yep, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with that other debt. If you truly want to buy a house, look at everything.
Okay.
You're buying a depreciating asset on that, so it's frustrating to see, but they don't realize that can really directly affect their purchase power.
For sure.
And that's what we're trying to help them figure out. What is your purchase power based on your personal scenario? And you said it, everyone's different. You just don't know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time to sit down and not just make it this checkbox transaction kind of thing.
Yep.
Because I feel like people are scared to work with people like you because they're just in it for the money. But it sounds like you truly want the best for your clients, and it sounds like your brokerage and everything in mortgage brokerage.
Yeah, mortgage lender. Yeah.
Lender. There we go.
Yeah.
Wants the same. So
yeah, I don't care if they're buying right now or 6 months down the road or 2 years down the road.
Yeah.
At least if you sit with us, you're going to walk out with a plan.
Yeah. Which is
here's
great.
what you have to save. Here's where your credit needs to be, and we'll help them with credit and help them get there where they need to be. So
yeah,
it's exciting.
Love it. Thank you. I learn something new every time I talk to people, and I know absolutely nothing about homes and mortgages. So I will be calling you up when I'm ready.
Absolutely.
Well, great to meet you.
You too. Thank you.
So thank you, and everybody, thank you guys so much for joining the 10 and 10 podcast today with Mr. Jason.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.